Hey everybody, coming to you live from my Zen garden. And as the title suggests, this is Scotch and Cigars and Conversation After Dark. Now, a lot of stuff to talk about, but I'm going to give it a few seconds for people to join in. And this is an Arturo Fuente, and I believe that this is actually from the Dominican Republic. It's not a Cuban. I do have a reserve of Cubans, but didn't feel like getting into that tonight. But a lot of stuff to talk about. First of all, for those of you who are watching, if you're digging on Bible bullshit for beginners, throw some hearts out there, throw some roses out there. Let's get some gift giving. and this is not like preaching where I'm expecting money. I'm not. But the hearts, the stars, the roses, all of that shit's really cool. Oh, before I get too far down the path, let me show you guys what I'm drinking, because I like full disclosure. This is Glenlivet Founders Reserve. This is my favorite daily drinker, which I don't drink alcohol on a daily basis. Basically, I like to have it on the weekend. There is too much of a good thing, just like cigars. I only have cigars like maybe once every couple of months or so. I don't like the staining of the teeth and all of that stuff, and it takes a while to kind of clear all of that up. But I enjoy it, so I do it, right? So let's see who's out here. Oh man, yeah. So it says more likes can attract viewers. So hit those likes, y'all, because I want to get some folks in here because I got some shit on my mind tonight. One of the cool things about TikTok and then basically getting the kind of velocity that I did, which thank you all, because I wouldn't be in this position without you. Getting to 1,000 likes gives you the opportunity to go live, and going live you can share more time than you can in the short videos that you do. And I'm going to do some more things besides Bible bullshit for beginners. I'm not a one-trick pony. I don't want you guys to think that. I am also a motivational speaker and a leadership coach. So I'm going to be talking about some of those things. These are lessons that I've learned from my time both in corporate America and in the U.S. Navy. So I understand leadership at a very detailed level. So anyway, this week, it's election season here in the United States. And this is a bummer here because I had a fire going out here in my Zen garden, and my fire is going out, and I can't really figure out why. Because I've done all my Boy Scout tricks to get my fire going and all of that stuff. But anyway, it's election season, and it's also the weekend of daylight savings time. So at midnight-ish, we're going to turn our clocks back an hour and get an extra hour in our day. Woohoo, that's great. But on Tuesday, we're going to vote, and hopefully we won't set our country back 50 years. Because according to the polls, and if we learn anything from the era of Donald Trump, we learn don't trust the polls, right? If we talk about the polls, we're estimating that the Republican Party will take over the House of Representatives, and there's a good chance that they'll take over the Senate too. And if you understand what happened with Roe v. Wade and some of the blowback behind that, you also understand that really there is no limit to what these wannabe theocrats want to do. I mean, honestly, folks, if you don't get out here and vote and vote for people's rights. See, listen, let me tell you something. The Republicans are throwing out a lot of shade about the economy and how the economy's fucked up. Well, the economy is fucked up, but understand this. It takes a minute to repair a fucked up economy, and guess who fucked it up? Your boy, Trump, the orange asshole. So, the economy is going to recover because that's what economies do. If you understand economics, like I do, I'm minored in economics, you know that that economies are cyclical. They rise and they fall. There's a period of feast and a period of famine, a period of peaks and a period of valleys. And that's just how the economy goes, right? But rights, on the other hand, you might think you're voting for the economy, but what you're voting for is the deprivation of rights for wide swaths of American citizens. I mean, we're talking about the possibility of Roe-type legislation becoming the law of the land at a federal level. We're talking about LGBTQ and transgender rights being rolled back. We're talking about affirmative action and other protections for minorities being rolled back. And this is where, because there is a Bible, Buybull angle to this. And it's this, that the people who want to take away your rights are Christians. See, the thing is, Christians honestly don't want you to have rights. They want you to believe what they believe. It's funny how they educated in favor of like high school coaches that want to have prayer on the football field. Yeah, it's great. You want to express your religious freedom, fine. But what happens when the Muslim wants to have prayer at a soccer game, or the Hindu wants to have prayer at a volleyball game? Are you going to support that as well? Are you going to be just as vociferous for that? And the answer is, because these are Christians, the answer is emphatically no. Because Christians don't give a fuck about anybody else's faith or anybody else's religion. They want to say, oh, we want freedom of religion. No, you really don't. You want to steamroll everybody else's rights so that you guys can have this theocratic society. And here's the other thing that irritates me, is that a lot of people, a lot of these Christian politicians, they do what they do because they feel like that by doing this, they are ushering in the end times. That they're bringing about the advent of the Antichrist and the return of Jesus Christ. Well, let me help you out with something. First of all, nobody that has an apocalyptic view of life should be allowed to run anything. I mean, they shouldn't even be allowed to run a scout troop, much less a government or a major corporation. Because the whole apocalyptic viewpoint, aka the book of Revelation, is just really a bunch of bullshit that it doesn't pertain to anybody today. If there was any gravitas, or gravity better I should say, any gravity to this, that it pertained to people prior to 70 CE and the sacking of Jerusalem. After that, the book of Revelation has absolutely zero relevance. It has no weight, it has no authority, it doesn't predict anything. But the thing is that Christians like to play connect the dots and say, oh, well, see, this is Bible prophecy coming to pass. Listen, the Bible prophecy has been coming to pass for, well, let me see. I'm 60 years old. It's been going on at least as long as I've been walking the earth. And this is a really good smoke, by the way, and a really good Scotch. But honestly, nobody that has an apocalyptic view, and especially a religious apocalyptic view, should not be allowed to be running anything. I mean, honestly, these people should just be off in a corner someplace. They should be relegated to the fringes where they belong, not in the mainstream. And so here's the thing, that if young people turn out in big numbers, if women turn out in big numbers, because here's the thing, the abortion was put on the ballot in Kansas, y'all. Now, this is a very conservative state. In Kansas, it was voted down. This should have been a harbinger of things to come, but it's not. Instead, basically, you're looking at the possibility of a Republican bloodbath, and if that happens, I'm grateful that I've had my 60 years, but I really feel for my kids, and I feel for everyone else that has kids right now, because the other thing too is that I'm going to say this, and somebody's not going to like it, and I don't give a fuck, but this is the truth. Christianity is at the root of white supremacy. I mean, if you look at anything that is white supremacist, it is 100% Christian. 100%. 100% Christian. And that's the thing, because when Christians look at other Christians, and this is a true story. I can't say the name because this fella's dead now, and I don't want to dishonor. I don't want to pick on anybody that can't defend themselves. But we were at a ministerial conference, and this was actually here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 20 years ago, and we're all talking, and this one preacher who was a really big, I mean, this is a really big name. He came over to this group of black preachers, and he said, boy, he said, I tell you what, man, he said, when we all get to heaven, he said, I promise you, I'm gonna come over on y'all side and visit. True story. Because the thing is that white Christians, and here's the thing, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to paint people, I am painting with a broad brush. Fuck, I'm painting with a roller. I'm painting with a Wagner power painter, for crying out loud. The people will say, I'm painting with a broad brush and I'm being too general. And here's the thing, that there are people who call themselves Christians that are not shitty people. They're actually good people. But I've said to them, and I've said this to their face, I'm not saying anything that I haven't said. Any of you that know me, you know that I've said this to you, right? That if you call yourself a Christian and you're white, and you're really genuinely a good person, you're not really a Christian. You're something else. Christ may be part of your repertoire. It might be part of your paradigm, but you're not really a Christian, not in the real sense. And the way that I could prove that is that some of these same people who have been, coming at me saying, well, Derek, you can't talk about all Christians like that. The Christians talk about them like that. They say, well, you can't talk about universal salvation because that's not the Bible, but it is. You can't talk about equality, well, because that's not Bible. Well, it is. All these things, what things that the Bible actually does say, Christians reject, and things that the Bible doesn't say, Christians fight tooth and nail to uphold it. The longer the ash, the cooler the smoke. The game for free. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So, again, on Tuesday, we have the ability to either move the country forward and continue in earnest the American experiment, or we can watch it all fall, watch it all fail, watch it all crumble down to dust. Because I'm telling you, there are places in this country where literally slavery is on the ballot. I'm not kidding you. Now, it's under the auspices of prison reform, but you see, the 13th Amendment, which was supposed to grant, freedom to the slaves, it has an outlet. It has an escape clause that if people commit a crime or something like that, then they can be forced into involuntary servitude. Yeah, and that's on the Bible. I mean, that's on the ballot in several states. And again, if we don't show up strong on behalf of what, I mean, not liberty in the sense of what conservatives think, because see, what conservatives think is liberty is actually steamrolling everybody else. But true liberty, which is the rights, equal opportunity for all people, then if we're going to have that, then honestly we have to vote Democrat. And let me say this too, because I'm not going to give the Democrats a hall pass, because the Democrat Party is a really shitty party too. But it is the lesser of two evils. And here's the thing, you can't say, well, I'm not going to decide between the lesser of two evils. You better, because if you don't, life will get really shitty for you real fast. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And here's the other thing too, is that just about every Republican, in order to be competitive in conservative politics, you have to be a Christian, and you have to be a conservative Christian. And that means that, that if you believe in universal salvation, or if you believe in preterism or anything like that, then you're basically denied a seat at the table. You're just as bad as a non-believer. And you don't get any clout, you don't get any power, you don't get any authority, you don't get a seat at the table. And this is what the Republicans want to do. Listen, I can't tell you, and I'm not trying to sound alarmist, but God damn it, somebody's hair is on fire here. And if it's not now, it's gonna be. Listen, we need to really wake up and pay attention. And listen, I'm going to tell you that if you don't vote and you happen to be on the shitty end of the stick, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And let me say this too, to my white brothers and sisters that are not financially endowed, that I don't know how the Republicans are able to make middle and lower class whites vote against their own best interests, but they do. And it seems like a lot of white Americans who are either middle class, working class, or poor, they don't see themselves as poor or working class. They see themselves as temporarily embarrassed billionaires. And so as a result, they're siding with an ideology that does not have their best interests at heart. And for the life of me, I don't understand that. But basically, Lyndon Johnson said something. He said that the key to the Republican success was to make the lowest white person feel better than the best black person, because at that point, if you keep that energy going, then basically you'll be able to take whatever you want from them. And the reality is that as go one, so go all. We're all in this together. Now, it's like if you were to look at my life, if you had an inside view into my life, you would say, well, Derek, I don't understand why you're so, pro middle and lower class and the impoverished. Because I'll tell you why. Because I grew up poor. Matter of fact, we were po. We couldn't even afford OR. We were just po, just po. And my mother struggled. She strove. She worked multiple jobs. She went to school. My mom did all of these things so that she could raise 3 kids and not have to bury any of them, not have to bail any of them out. And so now my mom, now I have kind of a bifurcated family because my dad was married multiple times and he has multiple sets of kids. So I have an older brother, older sister, and 2 younger brothers. But as for the kids that Shirley raised, we defied every statistic. We defied every odd because my mom has 3 college-educated professional children that have raised kids and have grandkids. So, so she's done a great job. But the other thing too is that my mom was a diehard Democrat, and when I was young, I didn't really understand that because most of my adult life I was a Republican. I joined Young Republicans in high school because everybody was in Young Democrats. So I was like, I got to do something different. I've always been, the kind of cat that cut across the grain. But, I really bought into that. I was really on the Kool-Aid, man. I was a Reagan Republican, man. I had a conservative radio talk show for almost 4 years. I wrote a syndicated conservative newspaper column. I was all in. I worked on people's campaigns, multiple people, big name campaigns, and I worked in big, high-level strategic things. I've been involved in a lot of things, but now I understand. First I found out that the whole Republican thing was bullshit, that it was all smoke and mirrors, and that I had been deceived, and I was really fighting against my own best interests. And then I found out the same about Christianity. And so now I am a very liberal socialist atheist, and that's where I am. That's where I am spiritually and ideologically. Dennis, what are you doing, man? My dog is out here. He's pawing at something, but I don't see what it is that he's pawing at. Is that one of your treats? Or did I? Oh, I see what the deal is. I somehow managed to flick some cigar ash on his treat that was on the ground here. Forgive me, Dennis. And I want to say something too. I'm going to throw this out here, and this is for all you single ladies. For you single ladies out here, this is a message, especially for single ladies. And feel free to stitch this, because this is the game for free. And it's this: every single lady needs to have a pet. You need to have a dog or a cat. And it needs to be in your home. So that when you invite a gentleman into your place, you'll see how they treat the animal. Because if they don't treat the animal well, I can promise you with almost 100% certainty that they're going to treat you pretty badly too. So that's the game for free. Get a cat, get a dog, and see how your suitors treat your pet. Because if they treat your pet with kindness, with love, with dignity, they're going to treat you pretty good too. That's just something I want to throw in. That's the bonus round. So I'm coming down to the point of where the cigar ceases to be good. It's like some people will say, take them all the way down to the band. I don't. I go maybe about a quarter of an inch above the band, because at that point they stop smoking well. They start burning hotter, and they become a little bit more pungent and biting on the tongue, and which kind of eliminates why you smoke cigars in the first place. You know, you smoke cigars because they're smooth and they have a great flavor. So that's the thing there, folks. Yeah, and also my battery I just got a low battery warning. I thought I would have enough battery to carry on. And I was planning on going about a half an hour or so. I guess I probably have enough for another half hour. I mean, another 5 or 10 minutes. But again, if you like Bible bullshit for beginners, please make sure that you're checking it out, that you're liking it, that you're stitching it, that you're giving it stars, that you subscribe. You know, because subscriptions drive the algorithm. It's just like any other social media platform. So I really beseech your kindness in those regards. And also, if there's some content that you would like to see, or if you have questions that you'd like to see dealt with in Bible bullshit for beginners, or if you have questions about leadership or questions about coaching or things like that, I'm very adept at those things as well. And if you inbox me with your questions, I will certainly take them under advisement. And if there's something that I think would make a good video, then I'll definitely put it out there. And so let me see who else I saw a lot of comments out here, and unfortunately, you know, these glasses, you know, this is what happens when you get old. It's like your vision starts getting not so good. And I'm not saying my vision is bad. I mean, it's just kind of like the function of aging. I mean, I'm 60, but I'm spry. I can still kick above my head. I can't get into a full side split, but I can get like maybe about 11 inches off the ground in that. So I can still do that. I can still bench press my weight. So, you know, there's all of the physical things I can still do. I still have my mental faculties, but again, it's like vision is one of those things. I think like right about the time that I was about 42, 43, that's when I had to start wearing glasses for the first time. Well, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, somebody said something about babies born in the lab. I don't know what that's about. I have to go through these comments and look at them again. And then that's the other thing too. My fire has gone out. That's really got me baffled. But after I finish this video, I'm gonna get my fire restarted, and I'm gonna finish my scotch, my cigar. It's the first Saturday in about 2 months that I haven't had to work, so it's actually been pretty cool. I got some things done around the house. I did some honeydews, and did some things I'm rearranging my office, making it more. It's going to be an office / man cave / video production facility. Blah blah blah. But I'm grateful. I have a really huge office. It's I don't know, like maybe about, I want to say my office is probably about 500 square feet, and it has 14-foot ceilings, which is really, really cool. So when you come in and into it, there's a presence to it. And then I had some custom bookshelves made that go almost all the way floor to ceiling, so that adds to the ambiance. And so, you know, I'm kind of rearranging things to kind of fit all of that, and that's going to drive a lot of the content that I do. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited about that. And then also the fall is upon us, so we're getting ready to shut everything down outdoors. You know, we're going to have the pool close down the hot tub and all of that. And then you know, we're gonna do some landscaping in the spring, kind of do a little bit of transformative work here in the Zen garden, and then also have an outdoor kitchen over here, and I have a pergola built around my outdoor kitchen, but it doesn't have a roof. So because we have a lot of trees, I collect a lot of leaves and stuff in my outdoor kitchen, which means that it has to be cleaned very thoroughly every time you're getting ready to do a big meal or anything out there, and I want to get that squared away. So I'm gonna have a roof put over my pergola to take care of that. But and again, all of this is gonna drive content, because it'll provide some more interesting locales for video production. Also, I love to cook, or I like to grill outdoors. Let me say that I like to smoke meat, and I like to grill meat and grill vegetables and things like that. And so I'm going to be doing some cooking videos as well. But anyway, daylight savings time's coming up. Don't forget to set your clock back, right? Spring forward, fall back. You're going to set your clock back. But then on Tuesday, be sure not to set the country back 50 years. Because you got to remember that, like Brown versus Board of Education and, things like that, the Little Rock Nine and all of that, all of that stuff has happened in the lifetime of a lot of people who are in office. So, we can either go forward or we can go backward. I don't want to live in a country where Jim Crow is the rule of law. I don't want to live in a country where I have to kiss the ass of Christianity. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff, and you don't either, contrary to what you might believe. And honestly, there is no Antichrist, there is no return of Jesus, none of that stuff. All of that's bullshit that people have concocted to stoke fear in your life and to make you believe that things are getting worse. But the reality is, life is actually getting better. We're living longer, we're healthier, all of these things. Life is better, and people have a higher standard of living. Everything is better. You know what's different is that now all of the bad shit is instantly available thanks to the internet, thanks to technology. And so because of that, we're inundated with a lot of bad news. But I'm here to tell you that if we can get to the point where we start building, I'm going to say this, put it out there, start building some socialist safety nets, some socialist social systems. If we can get to that, we can fix this, and the United States of America will be just as happy a place as Finland, which happens to be, according to multiple polls, multiple studies, Finland is the happiest place in the world. And mind you, this is in the land of the midnight sun, y'all. They have darkness for like 3 months and sun for 3 months, and yet and still, in spite of that, people are happy. And it's cold up there. It's not tropical. It's not warm. It never really gets like we have seasons here in the U.S. No, it's cold pretty much all the time. And yet people are happy. And you know why they're happy? Because they have a government run by people who actually give a fuck about them. So if you want to move in that direction, now I'm not saying that the Democrats are going to get it all done. They're not going to make it perfect, but they will stop the tide of a regressive, repressive regime. And that's all you need to know for right now, So that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it, folks. I hope that this is encouraging to you. I hope that the Bible Bullshit for Beginners, that is helping to educate you, because I'm not trying to get people to think like me. I'm not trying to get people to follow me. I'm just trying to get you to think, because if you think about this, if you really process it out, you'll see that basically that everything that people have been feeding to you about Christianity, about God, about Jesus, about the Bible, is all complete and total bullshit. So until the next live, peace and hair grease, y'all.